Good evening, everyone. Very good evening. So, welcome to the first session of the CMA revision series for July 2023. Welcome to KSJ family. So, we are waiting for all of you to get live. We are live from our side. All those who are joining in live, please let me know if the audio and the video is clear. So, we'll wait for 5 minutes so that everybody joins in. All those who wish to join, all those who wish to take the utmost benefit of this series. Good evening, good evening, good evening. This series is going to be in English, 95% English, 5% here and there. Some Hindi words can be utilized, right? Good evening, good evening. All clear. Okay, so all those who are joining in, please, if you have not yet subscribed to the channel, subscribe and also hit the like button. All good. Thank you. पीयूष सीए वालों की लेंगे नियर एग्जाम्स राइट इट्स ऑल क्लियर no it will be in English because everybody is able to understand English because we have lots and lots of students from the southern part of India and it will be simple English. Everybody will be able to understand, nothing to worry. I'm good, Irfan, thank you. Okay, so we'll wait for a few minutes, right? We have gone live before 4 so that everybody joins in and we are able to start with a session. So till then, you people can tell me how are your preparations going on, and guys, please do not forget to hit the like button, please, right? Thank you, Piyush. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Yes, it will be in English, just Leo. Mansi, yes, you will get full concepts. We are going to cover every concept here. Yes, Sudarshan. It's already 4 o'clock. Lunch time is approximately 2:30 and 3 maximum. Today we'll be doing the basics, right? Because the basics are very important. If we are not going to cover the basics, that means that we are, not putting up the right foundation for this, right? So we'll try to cover the basics. All the basics will be covered today itself, right? Because some of the calculations will be there along with that, because some calculations will from the basic itself will help you in the chapters. Along with that, the theory part comes from the basics. So all the small things, the basic terminologies we'll be understanding today, right? Thank you, Shri. Remember you. Come on, guys. Come on, join in. And I hope all of you must have shared with your friends also. That's really important, right? All your friends who want to take the benefit of this, please share, keep sharing, because for the next few days, we'll keep coming live every day. Secret is the love that we have been getting from our family, from our KSJ family, and that is the only secret, sir, that keeps us going. That is the only secret. That's good, Vikas. Good evening, everyone. Very good evening. You know, as soon as I am going live, as soon as I go live, the energy automatically comes in, right? After this, I have a live FM CA Inter FM batch after this at 8 o'clock approximately. At 8 o'clock, I have from 8 to 9:30 or 10 o'clock, 1.5 hours CA batch I have, right? Every day, that is a batch already going on, CA Intermediate. So how many of you are preparing for only group 1 and how many of you are preparing for both the groups? Just let me know. Till the time we are waiting for next 2-3 minutes so that more students join in. Please guys, share with all your friends that we are live. All those who wish to join, they can. Some of the students are from the old batch. I can identify some students. First group, both groups. Okay, group 1, both groups. Group 1, both groups. Okay, so many are appearing for just one group, many are appearing for both the groups. Group 1, Group 1. Many students are appearing for just Group 1, right? No, the questions will not be covered, only the conceptual revisions, right? Because we don't have the time for the questions, and otherwise also the question series is paid, right? So I can't take up the paid part here. Both groups, okay. And questions by now you must have practiced, and still you have around 15, 18 days, 20 days, right? If you wish to cover the questions from the module, you can join the series from our mobile app or from our website, right? If you want to cover that. Group 1. Thank you, Sundaram. Thank you. Yes, 1 hour. 1 hour. Accordingly, we will adjust. If required, the more time in the coming days, we'll accordingly adjust, right? Every chapter is important. GVR Studio, every chapter is important. You can't really identify that this chapter is important or that chapter. Every chapter is important, sir. Every chapter is important. Thank you, Abhay. MCQs, Rakesh, for this attempt, it will be difficult, I would say, that compiling all the MCQs and providing at this point of time, last moment, I'm not sure, right? I won't commit anything which I can't do, right? Which I'm not sure about. I won't commit anything like that, okay? CMA module series is already available. That is a recorded part already available from our website or our mobile app. That is, those are recorded lectures available for Group 1 paper 8, available for Group 2 paper number 10, old course. Both groups. That's good. That's good. Guys, why are you not liking the video? Please hit the like button, and all those who have not yet subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. Thank you, thank you. But we need your support, guys. We need your support in the form that you have to share it more and more in the Telegram groups or wherever you can, in your WhatsApp, wherever you can. Please do share, because still the amount of content, the quality of the content that we have provided, we haven't got that much of the student with us. Suraj, it will be in English so that everybody is able to understand, right? Basics. Srajit will be covering the basics. Okay, we'll see. Thank you. Which notes unable to download? GVR Studio, which notes are you talking about? Notes are not free. How can you download? We are not providing the notes, any notes in the PDF form. Our notes are only in the form of handbooks. Both groups. Okay. So many are appearing for a single group and many are appearing for both the groups. So on this note, I think let's start with our today's session without wasting any other time. That I am working on, Santosh. I am working on that. I'm trying to get it the time for the group 2 also, paper number 10 also, right? We might start it in the morning, because in the evening I don't have time. From 4 to 5 or 5:30 this batch will go on. After that at 8 o'clock I have again a live batch for CA Intermediate Financial Management going on, right? So we'll see, work on that. Let's see. Okay, so let's start with our first topic. The first topic that we are going to cover today is the basics of costing, which is one of the most important topics. Chapter number 1 will be the basics of costing. So what is costing? Basically, we'll talk about the few terminologies quickly, that what is costing, what do you mean by cost, what do you mean by cost accounting, what do you mean by cost accountancy, right? So we'll discuss that. Now, if you talk about this cost, what do you mean by cost? In the simple language, if I talk about the cost, is any expense done from your pocket, any expense, right? What do you mean by expense? Expense is any money spent on buying anything, spent on buying any product or service, any product or service, right? So anything, any money which is flowing out of your pocket, if you have done an expenditure, whether it is on a product, whether it is on any of the services that you have taken, right? Yes, 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 Aishwarya, this live will be there on the YouTube. Don't worry, you can revise it later on. Don't worry, anytime you can revise during the examinations. Okay. So any money spent on buying any product or service, hi Divya. So that is your expense and that is known as cost, right? For example, you are going to a movie hall, you watch the movie, you buy the popcorns, you buy the burger. That is what you will do, an expenditure on that. You will pay the money to that person for the movie ticket also, for the burger also, and for the popcorn also, and for the cold drink also, right? So let's say you have done an expenditure of 1500 on that. So that is what? That is your cost. That is your cost. That is not the cost for that movie hall. That is your cost. Okay. The next terminology that comes to us is costing. So what is costing? Sir, how will you identify? Let's say you come back to your home, your father is asking you that how much of an expenditure, how much of the cost have you incurred on the movie? How will you identify that? Costing is the procedure to identify the cost. Identify the cost. How will you identify the cost, sir? Sir, you will identify the cost by having the bills. If you have purchased the movie ticket, you will have the bills with you. If you have purchased the popcorns and the burger, you will have the bills with you. So how will you identify the cost? That is known as costing. So procedure to identify the cost is known as costing, right? Okay, so moving on to the next part. The next, after costing, we have cost accounting. After that, we have cost accounting. So what is cost accounting? Sir, cost accounting is recording of the transactions. What is cost accounting? Cost accounting is basically identifying, classifying, one second, classifying and recording of transactions. And recording of transactions, that when you classify the transactions, that how much have been your fuel expense while going to the movie, how much have been your movie ticket expense, how much has been your popcorn expense, how much has been your cold drink expense, and you record those transactions, that is known as cost accounting, right? After that, another terminology that comes here is cost accountancy. Another terminology that comes here is accountancy, cost accountancy. So there is a small difference in all the terminologies. It might seem that all the terminologies are quite similar, sir, right? But there are small differences in all the terminologies. So what is cost accountancy? Cost accountancy is the presentation of cost data. It is the presentation of cost data for the management, for management decision making, for management decision making. That once you have recorded the data, then obviously you will have to present the data to the management for the effective decision making, isn't it? How will you present it to the management for the effective decision making? You will have to present the data in a proper tabular form. You'll have to present the data in a proper form in which they are able to identify what is the cost, how we can control the cost, or how we can reduce the cost where it has been a wasteful expenditure, right? So all these things are identified. That is known as cost accountancy. Clear till now? Quickly let me know everything is clear till now. So we'll move on to the next topic. Quickly let me know if everything is clear till now. Okay. Just be active, be attentive, and we'll quickly be covering all the things. Okay. Now, what is the objective of cost accounting? Why we are studying this cost accounting, sir? Let's say you are a manufacturer, right? And you are manufacturing a particular product. Okay. And you want to set the selling price of the product. How will you set the selling price? If you do not know what is the cost which has been incurred in the making of that product, then you will not be identifying, then you will not be able to identify the selling price. You will not be able to identify that how much you are earning on that product by selling that product. That means you will not be able to identify the profit earned on this. So the basic things, the first objective is cost ascertainment. Cost ascertainment. So if any one of you is having my books, na, keep the books with you, right? Keep the books with you. In the books, it is chapter number 1, okay, which I am covering right now. It is chapter number 1. So the first objective is the cost ascertainment, that is identifying the cost in the making of a product, that what is the different types of the cost which have been incurred, right? The second is, once you have ascertained the cost, you can set the selling price, that is determination of selling price. That is determination of selling price. The third is, once you have identified what is the cost, once you have identified, sir, what is my selling price, the third thing that you can identify here is ascertaining the profit. Ascertaining profit earned. Right? Then once you have earned the profit, then what will happen, sir? It also helps in the managerial decision making, right? Managerial decision making. Sir, if you know the cost, if you know how much of the profit you are earning on a particular product, the management can take the decisions accordingly, isn't it? The management can take the decisions accordingly. Then it also helps in the cost reduction and cost control. Cost reduction and cost control. Right? So these are the major objectives that why we study cost accounting, and we have a full body, the CMA, that is the cost and management accounting, with the main purpose. Tomorrow, if you go into the industry, if you are employed in the industry, what will be the main purpose? Why will you be employed? Sir, you will be employed with the sole motive that you are able to identify that what is the various types of the cost being incurred in a manufacturing product, right? Or in any industry, where will you go? And what is the profit earning? How can we reduce the cost? How can we control the cost? All these things you will have to work upon as a professional, as a CMA, when you will go on. And what are the various wasteful activities on which the cost is being incurred? What are the various activities on which the cost is required to be incurred but is not being incurred, right? So all these activities you will need to do. Okay, so the next topic, very important from the theoretical point of view, I would say. The next topic, very important from theoretical point of view, that is difference between cost reduction, and cost control. Cost reduction and cost control, right? So if we talk about the cost reduction, sir, and if we talk about the cost control, what is cost reduction? What do we do in the cost reduction? We divide our activities, the business activities, Nitin, it is not possible. It is not possible because there are many students from the southern part of India, right? They won't be able to understand Hindi, and it is a very simple English that I am using. Very simple English. You won't find it difficult, right? I'm not using any hi-fi words. Even I don't know any hi-fi words, right? So if you will just concentrate and without any barriers in the mind of the language, if you will concentrate, you will be able to understand, right? Okay, so what we do in case of cost reduction, we identify the activities and divide the activities into value added, into value added and non-value added activities. Non-value added activities, right? So what is the purpose here? Now, how can we reduce the cost? Non-value added activities are those activities which are not adding any value to my product, right? Which are, in short, I can say the wasteful activities. So how can I reduce the cost? Simply cut down on the wasteful activities. So I will remove all the non-value added, remove this. Simple, right? You will try to cut down the cost. You will try to reduce the cost by removing the non-value added activities. Okay. Then when we are coming to the cost control, what do we do in case of the cost control? It's okay, Krish. So it's okay. Nothing to worry as such, right? We have just started with the basics. You can clear the first part. Thank you, Dishita. Thank you. Please do share with all your friends, right? Keep sharing, keep sharing. Okay, what do we do in case of cost control, sir? In case of cost control, the first thing is we will set the standards. The first thing that we are going to do is we will set standards. Hello, Prabhan. Right? That, for example, that for making a product, how much of the time should be there, right? The first chapter will be done, Prabhan, the basics of costing. Tomorrow we'll be doing material costing. Set the standards, then compare the standards with the actuals. Compare standards with actuals, right? And in case there is a variance, then you need to find out that how you can control your cost. For example, in the making of the product, if you say the raw material cost should be 100 rupees, now this is the standard that you are setting, right? When actually you checked that actually it was 120 rupees which was incurred. Now here you need to control your cost. Your cost should come down from 120 to 100, right? This is how you have to control the cost. This is not cost reduction. This is the cost control that you should control in such a way that your actuals should match with your standards, right? Whereas in case of reduction, we reduce all the non-value added activities. Now this, if you talk about the cost reduction in this part, the quality, no compromise on quality, no compromise on quality of the product. But in case of cost control, what is the sole motive? The sole motive is your actuals should not be more than the standards, right? But here the quality can be compromised, right? Quality might get compromised. Right, sir? After that, the next is, it is an ongoing process. It is an ongoing process. Sir, cost reduction is a continuous process which will keep on going on. Because, when we are in the process of doing a business, we don't know when the non-value added activity comes into the play. It can be. One activity can be today it is a value added activity, tomorrow it might turn out to be a non-value value added activity. Then you will have to reduce that, right? So it is an ongoing process. This is this process stops once the standards are met. Once the standards are met, the process will stop, right? So it is a corrective action. This is the corrective action. That means we correct our actions. This is a preventive action. We prevent the cost from going beyond the standards. Preventive action, right? So broadly, this is the difference between the cost reduction and the cost control, right? So this is definitely very important from the examination point of view. Just read it from your notes, whatever the notes you have. I have just given you the broad idea that what is cost reduction and what is cost control, right? If any one of you is having my books, in that books I have clearly given the difference in the first chapter itself, right? Okay, then the next topic is difference between FM lectures, I'm trying to do that also, right? The next is difference between cost accounting and management accounting, another important topic, and management accounting. Right, so in that I'll give you a broader idea that what is there in the cost accounting and what is there in the management accounting, right? So in the cost accounting, we just focus on the cost concepts. We only use the concepts which are related to the cost, right? Whereas in the management accounting, what we do is, in management accounting we are using the financial as well as the cost concepts. So that means the management accounting is a broader concept than the cost accounting. It is a broader concept. Sir, in the cost accounting, the major focus is on cost control and cost reduction. Cost control or cost reduction, this is what the major focus is on. Whereas in case of management accounting, they use the various information. They use various financial and cost information for decision making. So this is basically a decision making process. In cost accounting, it is not majorly a decision making process. In that, we are trying to do the different things, right? We are trying to control the cost and all those things. But in case of management accounting, we are trying to do the broader actions, right? That is why it is a broader concept than the cost accounting, right? So it is placed at a higher level. Higher level, it has the higher level in the hierarchy of the company, right? It is at a lower level than management accountant. Lower level than management accountant. So this is the broader concept. So this is the broader part of the difference between the cost accounting and the management accounting. Everything clear till now? Quickly, let me know. Quickly, let me know if everything is clear till now, so we can move on. All those who are joining in new, please keep hitting the like button and keep sharing with your friends. After the session, do share with your friends. And whenever you get time after exams or whenever you can follow us on Instagram also. You can search for KSJ Teaching _CA_CMA. The sums are not going to be done anyhow, right? The sums are not going to be done. Welcome, welcome, Yash. All good, all good. How's your car? Yash, how's your car? I hope it's safe and sound. Okay, let's move on. Now, the next that we are going to talk about is the types of cost. Types of cost. In the types of cost, first we'll talk about the direct cost. Very, very important. Now, this is very important to understand the different types of the cost. Now, what is a direct cost? Yes, Nishant, this is paper 8 revision. This is paper 8 revision exclusively for the CMA students. Every day we will be live at 4. One important thing, guys. Every day we'll be live at 4:30 now. From tomorrow it will be 4:30. I'll update on the Telegram and everything also. Right? Thank you, Yash. Good to see you here. So, what is a direct cost, sir? Direct cost is any cost which can be identified. Any cost which can be identified in 1 unit of finished product directly, in 1 unit of finished goods, right? So any cost which you can directly identify in the making of the 1 unit of the finished product, that becomes your direct cost. For example, if you are manufacturing a t-shirt and this button which is being used in the t-shirt, you can identify what is the cost of one button which has been used, or the label, you can identify what is the cost of the label which has been used in the making of the t-shirt. So if you can identify any cost directly, not indirectly, I'll tell about that. Wait. Keep patience. Nasreen, you can buy the books. If you want to buy the notes, you can buy the books from our website. You can. The notes are in the form of handbooks. You can buy from there. Okay. So any cost which can be identified in the 1 unit of FG, that is my direct cost, right? And the second, the difference between direct and indirect cost can be there, right? The second that you can get is indirect cost. The second is indirect cost. So indirect cost is the reverse of direct cost. Any cost which cannot be identified directly, which cannot be identified directly in 1 unit of finished product. For example, electricity cost. For example, electricity cost, fuel cost, right? So all these costs are what? These are the indirect cost. How can you identify if you are making, let's say, a t-shirt? How can you identify how many units of the electricity have been consumed in the making of 1 unit of the t-shirt? You cannot identify, because the electricity bill will come in total at the end of the month, right? And in the month you might be manufacturing 500 units of the t-shirt. Then it is not possible for you that how much of the electricity has been used in the making of 1 unit, right? That becomes my indirect cost. After that, the next that we are getting is the product cost. Next is product cost. Any cost which is attributable to a product, right? Cost that is attributable or identifiable with a product, right? Which is the cost which is directly related to the manufacturing of the product, whether it is a direct cost or whether it is an indirect cost. Any cost, right? For example, the cost of raw material, cost of raw material, labor, any overheads which are related to the production, all these will come under the product cost. The next one that comes here is period cost. The next one is the period cost. What is period cost? These costs are charged as expense. These are charged as expense against the revenue over a period. Now, these are not directly relatable to the product. For example, the administration expenses. What can be the examples here? The admin expenses, right? The salary of accountant. Now, all these expenses you identify over a period, that what is my expenditure over a period of 1 year, over a period of 6 months, over a period of 8 months, what is my expenditure, and not directly attributable to a product. If any cost of raw material is directly attributable to a material. Here, if you want example, that is the cost of RM, that is raw material, labor, then production overheads can be there. So any cost which is attributable to a product, that becomes a product cost, and otherwise it becomes a period cost, right? The next that we have is explicit cost. The next we have is explicit cost. What is explicit cost? the cost which involves the actual cash outflow, the cost which involves the actual cash outflow, right? That will become my explicit cost, the cost in which there is actual cash outflow. For example, you are paying the taxes, there is actual cash outflow, that is my explicit cost, right? The next one is implicit cost. The next one is implicit cost. What is an implicit cost? Where there is no actual cash outflow. No actual cash outflow. For example, notional rent. It is your own building, but still you are putting in the notional rent. That had that building been on rent, then what is the rent that we would have paid? That is known as notional rent, and you are charging it for the purpose of setting up the profit and loss, right? So this becomes your implicit cost. Now comes next one, that is the fixed cost. That is fixed cost. What is a fixed cost? Any cost which remains fixed over a period of time, which does not change with the volume of the units, right? The cost which does not change, the cost which does not change with the change in the level of activity, which does not change with the change in level of activity. Change in the level of activity, that is my fixed cost, right? But the fixed cost per unit might change. Fixed cost per unit might change. What I'm saying is the fixed cost, listen to this very carefully, because at some of the points this thing can be practically applicable, right? So listen to this very carefully. The fixed cost per unit might change, not might change, will change with the volume. Yes, Jaideep, will change. The fixed cost per unit will change with change in the volume, change in level of activity. For example, now listen to this very carefully. For example, I say number of units and fixed cost, right? At a level of 1000 units, my fixed cost is, let's say, 10,000 rupees, right? Now, if I change the number of units to 2000, my total fixed cost will remain changed. It is not going to increase, sir. It will remain 10,000 only. But if I talk about the fixed cost per unit, if I talk about the fixed cost per unit, what is the fixed cost per unit here? 10 rupees. But what is the fixed cost per unit in the second case? It is going to be 5 rupees. So the total fixed cost will remain same, but the fixed cost per unit will change, right? So this is regarding the fixed cost. Then the next point is regarding the next type of the cost is your variable cost. The next one is the variable cost, right? What is a variable cost? Any cost which changes with the change in the level of activity, right? Which changes with the change in the level of activity. Change in the level of activity. So that is my variable cost, right? Any cost which changes with the change in level of activity. For example, at 1000 units, your cost is 10,000, right? That is per unit cost. What is the per unit cost here? 10 rupees. At 2000 units, this cost will increase to 20,000. The per unit cost will remain same. So here, in case of variable cost, the per unit cost will remain same because it is variably increasing in the same proportion to the number of units, right? So if you increase the units from 1000 to 2000, your cost will increase from 10,000 to 20,000, so that the cost per unit will remain same, that is 10 rupees. After that, the ninth one. What is the ninth one, sir? The ninth one is your semi-variable cost. Is your semi-variable cost. What is a semi-variable cost? Where some part of the cost is fixed, some part is fixed, and some part is variable. And some part is variable. Now, how to calculate? Now, this is very important. Very important. You should know how to calculate the semi-variable cost, how to calculate the variable and the fixed part from a semi-variable cost. Very important. And firstly, how to identify that it is a semi-variable cost. For example, now listen to this example very carefully. I say I am manufacturing 1000 units. On that, I am incurring a cost of 10,000. Now, if I increase this 1000 to 2000, my cost increases from 10,000 to let's say 18,000. Right? Now, it is neither a fixed cost. If had it been a fixed cost, this 18,000 would not have been there. And it is not a fully variable cost, because had it been a fully variable cost, then the per unit would have remained same, but the per unit here has changed. So this is how you will identify that whether it is a semi-variable cost or a variable or a fixed cost. If it is a fixed cost, then this 10,000 will not change. One thing is clear, that it is not a fully fixed cost. How it is not a variable cost also? Not a fully variable cost, because the per unit cost has changed. Right? So this kind is a semi-variable cost. Now, how will you identify that how much is out of the semi-variable cost, how much of the part is variable and how much of the part is fixed? Very easy, sir. Calculation is very simple. Let's say for a change of 1000 units, my cost is increasing by 8,000. This is very important from the practical point of view, sir. This is very important, extremely important, because in any sum you might be asked the semi-variable cost. In the overheads also it can be asked, in marginal also it can be asked, anywhere you can be asked about this calculation, right? So, if you increase the units from 1000 to 2000, that is an increase of 1000. What is the increase in the cost? 8,000. That means for 1000 units, this 8,000 is what? This is my variable cost. That is why it is changing. This is my variable cost. So from here, can you tell me what will be the variable cost per unit? That will be 8,000 divided by 1000, that is rupees 8. This is my variable cost per unit. Now, if I take up this 10,000, I'll rub this. Now, if I take up this 10,000, some part is variable and some part is fixed. What is the variable cost? He says how many units? 1000. And what is the variable cost per unit? 8 rupees. That means this 8,000 is my variable cost in this 10,000, and the remaining 10,000 minus 8,000, 2,000 is my fixed cost. Fixed cost will not change. That is what I am saying. The fixed cost will remain fixed. Only the fixed cost per unit will change. Total fixed cost will remain same. Total fixed cost will not change. That is what I am saying. The total fixed cost will not change. Only the fixed cost per unit will change. But variable cost per unit will remain same, but the total will change. In case of semi-variable, both the things will change. The total cost will also change and the cost per unit will also change. When both the elements are changing, that means it is a semi-variable cost. And this is how you have to find out that how to bifurcate the semi-variable, how to find out that out of that semi-variable cost, what is my variable element and what is my fixed element. Is it clear, everyone? All those who are like, please let me know if it is clear to everyone. Quickly. And guys, please do share with all your friends. We need more students. It would be better if we have more students with us, isn't it? Sir, it would be great if we have more and more students joining in live. Okay, quickly let me know if it is okay, so I can move on. If this semi-variable cost calculation is clear, because this is very important from examination point of view, we cannot miss out on this. Clear? Okay. All done. Okay. That's good. After that, we have a few costs which you can just go through with. I'll just write down. One is the opportunity cost. All of you must know. Already shared. Thank you. Follow us on Insta also. Let's grow this family on Instagram. Right? Jaideep, in the sums, if you talk about in the overhead costing, it can be used when you have to find out the variable and the fixed cost. And when you are making the marginal cost statement, in the marginal cost statement, if you are given the semi-variable cost, you will have to find out what is the variable element and what is the fixed element. Otherwise, you will not be able to calculate the contribution, right? If you are not able to find out the variable, because there is no direct treatment of the semi-variable cost anywhere. If you think about the marginal cost statement where you take sales minus variable cost is equal to contribution minus fixed cost is equal to profit. If you do not know out of that semi-variable cost, if you do not know what is the variable element and what is the fixed element, how will you find out the contribution and the profit, right? So that is where the practical application comes into. Okay, after that, opportunity cost, all of you must be knowing that what is an opportunity cost? It is the cost of the foregone next best alternative, right? If you lose out on opportunity, let's say you are having rupees 10 lakh rupees in the cash. Now, what is the best thing? Another thing that you could have done, you could have deposited this in the bank. You could have deposited this in bank and earned interest. Let's say 50,000 interest you could have earned by depositing this money in the bank. But now you are losing out on this 50,000. This 50,000 is nothing but your opportunity cost, right? The next one is, all these are important from the theoretical point of view. You can get a short note on this. You can get a short note on all this. So please read from whatever the notes you have. I don't know what notes you are using, right? But definitely these things are important. Now, what is sunk cost? Sunk cost is any cost which has been incurred and which is irrelevant whether your project will move on or not. Sunk cost is gone. The cost has been incurred. The cost has already been incurred, right? The cost has already been incurred and we don't know whether this cost will be recovered. If the project goes well, this cost will get recovered. But if the project doesn't go well, if the project stops in between, this cost will not be recovered, right? So it is irrelevant for decision making whether you are recovering or whether you are not recovering. This cost has already been incurred, right? So this cost we say is irrelevant for decision making. Irrelevant for decision making. Right? So these are the major important costs which I wanted to discuss with you guys. I hope everything is clear. One thing I would say, sir, you still have got 10-15 days. Sunk cost is equal to Titanic is equal to gone. Yes, right. And even the submarine is gone, which just a few days back, that was submarine now also blasted, that went into the waters to find out any Titanic, why Titanic was, the Titanic kissa happened. So even that submarine is no more. Clear, sir? Okay, the next topic, the next thing that we are going to discuss is what is a cost center? What is a cost center? Sir, cost center is defined as any location, any person, any equipment, right? Anything, any location, any equipment, any person for which the cost is being identified, right? For which the cost may be ascertained. For which the cost may be ascertained. Right? For example, the location can be you have a Delhi office and you have a Mumbai office. Right? So you want to find out the cost, what is the cost being incurred at here and what is the cost being incurred at the Mumbai office. So this is your cost center for which you are identifying the cost. For let's say a person, you have an accountant or you have a salesman. Let's say you have a salesman. You want to identify that what is the cost being incurred in relation to that particular salesman. It can be the commission being paid to the salesman. It can be the traveling expenses being paid to the salesman, right? So all this is what? The cost which you want to identify relating to a particular person. Then it can be relating to a particular equipment. For example, there is a particular machine X. There is a particular machine X for which you want to identify that what is the fuel cost which is being incurred on the machine X, or what is the repairs and the maintenance cost on this machine X. So all this is what? This is your cost center, right? The next one is cost unit. Cost unit is, for example, you want to find out the cost per kilometer. So this per kilometer, that what is the unit in which you will be mentioning the cost, right? This is the unit in which cost is being ascertained. Cost is being calculated. For example, cost per kg, right? Or cost per kilometer. Cost per kg, cost per kilometer, right? Cost per meter. So all these things are what? These are your cost units. Per kg, per kilometer. These are your cost units, right? Then one term, it was asked in the comments itself, that is cost driver. Sir, what is a cost driver? Otherwise, this cost driver is used in calculation of activity-based costing. In the activity-based costing, this cost driver is used. But I'll tell you what is a cost driver, sir. The cost driver is the reason for which the cost is being incurred or the cost is being increased, right? It is the reason for which cost is being incurred. Cost is being incurred. For example, you are going to a particular location. This is location A. You are going from location A to location B. You are going from location A to location B, that is 50 kilometers apart. And you want to find out what will be my fuel cost on this. Right? What will be my fuel cost? Sir, okay, you say the fuel cost is 1000. Now you are going from, the next time you are going from location A to location C, right? Which is, let's say 80 kilometers apart. Now what will be the fuel cost? Will the fuel cost be same? No, sir. This time the fuel cost is, let's say 1500. So this fuel cost is dependent upon what? The reason. What is the reason why your cost is being incurred or why your cost is changing from 1000 to 1500? The reason here is the distance that you are traveling. That means your cost is dependent upon, or what is the driver? What is driving your cost? Your cost is being driven by the distance that you are traveling. the cost will change. If you will change your distance, your cost will change. So in this case, what will be your cost driver here? What will be your cost driver here? The cost driver here will be the distance covered, right? Distance in kilometer covered, right? So this becomes your cost driver. Right? So this is your cost driver. Now, one more topic. After that, one more topic is there, that is responsibility center. One is responsibility center. What is this responsibility center, sir? It is like the different departments who are given the different responsibilities. For example, there is a cost center. The first one is the cost center. The cost center is, what is the responsibility? That identifying the cost. What is the cost being incurred? Right? Then second, we have the revenue center. The revenue center, what will be the responsibility of the revenue center? To generate the revenue from the activities, right? Identifying what is the revenue that we are earning. The next one is the profit center. What is the responsibility of the profit center? The responsibility of the profit center is to identify and to generate the profits from the activities, right? Then the next one can be the investment center. The next one can be the investment center. Investment center is given the responsibility that you have to manage the money, whatever the profits you are earning, you have to identify that how to invest that money, how to make the best use of that money. So this is how the responsibility centers are created under the costing departments, that how you identify the cost, how you identify the revenue, that what is the revenue being generated, how you identify the profits, you have to generate the profits. The responsibility is not only in terms of identifying, the responsibility is also in terms that you have to generate the profits, right? You have to generate the profits, you have to identify where you can cut down on the cost, whether you can increase your selling price. So all these things, this is your responsibility center. Right? So we have covered almost all the basic concepts relating to the cost, starting from costing, cost accounting, the various terminologies that we have covered. So from this, you can definitely expect some kind of theory question, right? Now, the next topic, the last topic for today, that is the elements of cost. Elements of cost. What are the three major elements of cost? Sir, if you want to build a house, what is the first thing that you require? Sir, we require a good architect. That's a good point. Once you get the architect, then what is the first thing that you require to put in the foundation? Sir, we need labor. Okay, the labor is there, but there is no material. How will you build it? Right? So the first thing that you require is material. So that is the first element of cost. Once the material has arrived at your location, what is the next thing that you require? The next thing that we require is labor. Right? Once the labor is there, material is there, the work will start. Good evening, Komal. Once the material is there, the labor is there, the work will start. After that, what are the other things that will be there? Other things will be expenses. Right? So these are the three major pillars, the three major elements of the cost, and these three can be further divided into direct material cost, indirect material cost. Labor can be divided into direct cost and indirect cost. See, Komal, I'm not using the word overheads. I'm not using the word here overheads. I'm using the word expenses, because the overhead word is used for all the indirect cost. If I use the word here overheads instead of expenses, that means I'm referring to only and only the indirect part. And here I'm saying the expenses can be divided into direct and indirect. Right? That is why I have not used the word overhead. I've used the word expenses here. Right? And if you talk about all the direct cost, all my direct cost, is known as, all the direct cost is known as prime cost, right? And all the indirect cost, whatever the indirect cost is, it is known as overheads, right? It is known as overheads. Now, this overheads can be further divided into factory overheads. Factory overheads. The second can be office and administration overheads. Office and administration overheads. The third one is selling and distribution overheads. Selling and distribution overheads. Right? Factory overheads, office and administration overheads, selling and distribution overheads. So these are the three major elements based on which the whole cost accounting is there, right? Because everywhere we are taking the cost, you will get only three types of cost. One is material, second is labor, third is overheads. These are the only costs which you will get anywhere you go. Selling and distribution, that is the sales distribution. Selling and distribution overheads, right? Cost control and cost reduction, you will get it in the books also, Satyam. Okay, if you want to write it, you can write it. Here it is, the cost control and the cost reduction, you can do it. Okay, so this was all that we wanted in the first day session. How was the first session? Please let me know in the comment section quickly. How was it? Was it useful? Right? Was it useful for all of you? Tomorrow we will be taking up the material costing. We will discuss all the concepts of the material costing, how you have to deal with the questions. That is really important tips and tricks I'll be giving you, and where you people can commit mistakes and how to avoid those mistakes. That is going to be the main focus of this revision series, that how you can avoid the mistakes in the examination. What are the common mistakes that you people, your friends have been committing in the past, and which you can avoid and get the best of marks. That is the main purpose of this revision series, right? Okay, so I want all of you to be live tomorrow also at 4:30, right? From tomorrow we are changing the time a little bit. We are going it from 4:30 to 5:30. Yes, out of pocket cost is which has been incurred from the pocket. Explicit, yes, out of pocket cost and explicit cost is where there is actual cash outflow, and out of pocket cost is a little wider term, I will say, right? Yes, it is an explicit cost. Out of pocket cost is an explicit cost. Thank you, Jaideep, thank you, but I need the support. I need support, guys. You please share it as much as possible. Thank you, Yash, thank you. Okay, so any doubts in the today's session, if anyone is having any doubts? You just go on the Instagram and search for KSJ Teaching _CA_CMA. Just search for that. You will get it. The link might not be working, but just go on Instagram, search for KSJ Teaching _CA_CMA. There is only one KSJ Teaching that you will get, right? You will get it, sir. No issues. And if anyone is a December attempt student, you can get the books, or you can join in the Paper 8, Paper 10 series. Management accounting lectures, that is still under process. Yes, I can't tell you. For the new course you are asking, management accounting lectures, that is still under consideration, that what should be done, and what if we start with that, it will be very nominal, around 3,000-4,000 we will keep it. Don't worry. Jaideep, as of now, I will say yes, whatever is provided by the ICMI module, just do that. Just focus on that as of now. Because you have less number of days, now you can not go for any books or anything. Even the practical part, I would say, in the next few days, just focus on the CMA module. Just focus on that. And if you want from my side, the series is available. You can get it and make the best use of it. In the next 10 days also, you can complete all the questions of the CMA module, right? No. The period cost is not fixed cost. the period cost is not necessary to be the fixed cost. The administration expenses can change over a period. Let's say in the first quarter, your administration expenses are 10,000 rupees. In the next quarter, you have hired another person, it can raise to 15,000 or 20,000. The fixed cost is, which is not going to change. That is the rent. The rent is not going to change, right? Yes, Satyam, all the chapters will be covered. We'll be covering all the chapters, don't worry. Now this is for the CMA students. Last time we did it for the CA students, but the paper really came out to be really challenging. And for the CMA students, we are going it with the same thing, that ab ki baar 90 par. Thank you for reminding, Vikash. We are going in with the same thing, that ab ki baar 90 par. This time it has to be 90 plus. Okay, any doubts in the today's session? Anything you want to ask related to this session? See, it is very important that these basic terminologies are clear to you so that we can use it in the chapters further. We will be using it. Not all, but a few things we definitely will be using it. Right? So any doubts in the today's session, you can ask. This video will be available on YouTube. If you want to watch it later on again for your revision purposes, just do it. Okay. Vandana, difference between period cost and period cost? No difference between period cost and period cost. What do you want to, just reframe your question? What do you want to ask? Vandana, what do you want to ask? Just reframe your question. There is a mistake what you are asking. GVR Studio, you have to make these notes. You have to make these notes. Make it a habit. Write down quickly. Write down everything. Rest, otherwise the details you can get it from any notes that you have, right? In my books also it is, everything is given. All what we have covered, everything is given in the books, right? Or you can follow the CMA module or wherever you can. What do you want to ask, Vikas? Good evening, Manoj. Question is high-low. Please explain that. What is high-low? I'm not able to understand your question. Vandana, I've already explained. Period cost is a cost which is being identified over a period and which is not directly related to the product, right? For example, the administration expenses, these are salary paid to the accountant. For over a period, you charge those expenses against the revenue, right? Simple, sir. If you talk about the period cost, that is your cost like administration expenses and all those expenses, those expenses which are there in the P&L account, right? Any direct expenses like the cost of raw material, cost of labor, or any overheads which are related to production, that is your direct, which you take in the trading profit and loss account, right? All those are your product cost which are related to the manufacturing of the product. That is a product cost. Bye, Yash. Okay, anyone else want to ask anything? Or we can close the today's session. See you guys tomorrow. Please note the time. From tomorrow, we will be live at 4:30 instead of 4 o'clock, right? We'll be having the session from 4:30 to 5:30. High-low method and linear equation. It is there in the cost accounting. High-low method and linear equation of what, Vikas? Which high-low method and what is the linear equation in that? Implicit cost is any cost where there is no actual cash outflow. Where there is no actual cash outflow. For example, the notional rent, right? Notional rent is what? You are charging the rent, or depreciation, right? Depreciation is there. Segregation of semi-variable cost, that is to be done as I have told you. Please don't confuse it. High-low method. What is high-low method? I don't know. You might have studied somewhere high-low method. Segregation of semi-variable cost, I have already explained that how to segregate the semi-variable into variable and fixed. New syllabus, no need of any, I'll still check what is there, but segregation of semi-variable cost is done in this way only, right? They must have given it high-low method, I don't know, I'll check the module. Yes, Ravi, you can definitely expect in the CA inter new syllabus also. Now this series is for old and new syllabus both, for 16 syllabus and 22 syllabus, because paper number 8 is same in both. I'll check, because I will check, thank you. Okay, I'll check on page 32. I will check what different is there in that. I'll explain it tomorrow, don't worry. Don't worry. If anything is like that, I'll explain it. Don't worry. Okay. I'll check on page 32. Tomorrow I'll let you know. Anything else? It is semi-variable cost only. I understand. High-low method is what is the high cost, low cost, and all those. That is just given for framing this formula, basically. Framing this formula, I understand that thing, but still, I'll check what exactly they have mentioned and I'll explain it. Okay. Otherwise, the bifurcation of semi-variable into variable is done in this way only. In this way only, calculation of variable cost per unit, and then take any units. You can take 1000, you can take 2000, calculate what is the variable cost based on the number of units and what is the remaining will be your fixed cost. Right? No other questions, so we can close the today's session. See you guys tomorrow at 4:30 p.m. instead of 4 o'clock. Please note the time. I want every one of you to be live for these sessions, because the live sessions will definitely be more fruitful, right? Will be more fruitful. You can watch it again later on, but please be live, come live for all these sessions. It will be a great motivation for us also, that if more and more students will be joining in, even we will feel motivated that yes, we have to provide more and more content and keep sharing with all your friends, right? So see you guys tomorrow at 4 o'clock. Till then, stay safe, stay healthy, keep studying, keep sharing. Thank you so much.